Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial I will be showing you how to do the corner to corner stitch. It is a very basic stitch. If you know how to do a chain and a double crochet, this will be easy for you. You'd also need to know how to do a slip stitch, but that's neither here nor there, it's very quick. Okay, now the reason they call this a corner to corner is because the blanket, pillow, whatever you're making is starting from this corner and then we're working that way or the other way, whichever. Okay, whichever it turns out when you're doing. If you're a left-hander, you're one way. If you're a right-hander, you're another. Okay, and when it gets to the top, we close up shop there. Okay, it'll be easy, trust me. Now, if you're not sure how to do a chain stitch or a double crochet, please go back to my tutorials. I have them here on YouTube, and then come back to us, which will be easy for you if you do know. Okay, now this particular one is used as a chain up 6 and a chain up 6 to start, and then chain up 3 before each plus the set. The thing is, with this particular one, it's very gappy. You give it a gentle tug and you can see right through it. Okay, with the chain up 5 and a chain up 2 instead, you get that closed look. Today we're doing the gappy one. This particular tutorial will be next time. This one here is actually the start of one of my mood pillows. If you do not know what my mood pillow is, please go to my introductory video and it'll explain that to you. I love my mood pillows. They are the favorite thing I love making. Okay, that's the front and that's the back. Okay. I'm lying. That's the back. There we go. And that particular pillow will be on my etsy.com and madeit.com.au stores in about 3 or 4 days' time after it's washed and blocked. And the word blocking, well, that's a whole new tutorial in itself. So let's just get on with this one for now. Okay, today I'm working with Peppermint Sorbet. It is a beautiful, soft luxury yarn from Bendigo, and it is what it says it is. It's a luxury yarn. It is gorgeous. I know it's a little bit more expensive than your others, but it is better. Okay, we are using an 8-ply. With that, it's asking you to use a 4mm hook. But for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going to use a 5 because yours truly crochets very tight. Okay, now there is 200 grams in this particular skein or ball of yarn, whichever country you come from. And the shade is 394 and the dye lot is 002. Now, dye lot is really important if you are working in larger projects. If you're doing something small, you don't have to worry about it. You're just using this one dye lot and that's that. If you're working with a blanket or a pillow or whatever, and you need a lot of yarn, like you'll need 4 to 6 balls of yarn if you want to do a single bed size blanket, maybe even more than 6 depending on what you classify as single bed. Okay, so focus on dye lots when you are buying more for a blanket. If you're only making little beanie or something, then just stick to the one and that's fine. Let's get started. I forgot to mention, you'll also need to know how to do a slip knot, but I have a tutorial on that. It's real quick, it's easy, it looks just like this. And I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's not something, if you know another way of doing it, that's fine too. Okay, so we're going to slow down now and we're going to get started. We're going to chain up 6 to begin with. I'll just make that a little bigger for you so you can see. There we go. So chain up 6. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there you go. Simple, simple, simple. Now we are going to put a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Okay, so we're not including that one right there. We're going here. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to put a double crochet in there. Not sure what a double crochet is? Go back to my tutorial, practice, and come back. That's 1, 2, and the last one, 3. Okay, so that's that. All right, easy. Okay, now it's up to you whether you want to chain up 6 first and then turn, or turn first and then chain up 6. I literally chain up the 6 first. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I turn my work. Doesn't matter how you turn, or doesn't matter what you do, chain up 6 and then turn or whatever. Just so long as you stay consistent, okay? We crocheters like to say there are no mistakes in crochet, there are just new stitches. That's our way of covering up a mistake. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about myself there. We're counting 4. 1, 2, 3, and then we're putting it in the 4th chain from the hook. Okay, there's 1 double crochet. So it's going to be this all the way through your pattern. You're chaining up 6, you're turning, and you're putting the 3 double crochets in, okay? Or the cluster set is what I call. Whenever you see 3 double crochets or a certain stitch that calls for a cluster set, that's what they'll say, cluster set in the next chain space. Okay, so now that chain up 6 we did earlier, and then we did 3 crochets there, we're going to put a slip stitch in that loop. So we're here, we are going to slip stitch in that chain space right there. I might get a bit closer and show you. See that? Here 3 doubles. 3 doubles are there, and there's your chain space. You're going to slip stitch in there. Pull it through. Okay. Now we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to put, let's just take some yarn here. We're going to put our 3 double crochet or our cluster set in that chain space as well. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so basically what you have here is, let me get the other pattern piece from before, you have, and I'll show you, nice close up there, you have that. All right, so you've started your corner already, you've started. This is pretty much what the pattern is, backward and forward and backward and forward. I'm going to do another row for you. All right, so we are here. We're going to chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's just pull some more thread here. Okay. Now we turn, and we're going to double crochet, remember, from the 4th chain from the hook. So it's 1, 2, 3, and what have I done? I've done that too tightly. There's the first one. 1, 2, 3, and there's your 4th one. That's what I mean about crocheting too tight. So 1, 2, 3, the last 3, it's really tight so you can't see my stitches. I'm able to see them because that's, you know, my experience. I'm just used to it. But that 3rd one, and I'll show you all where it's all tucked in so you know what I mean by crocheting tightly. If you can learn to crochet loosely, that's better. Is right there. It's so tight in there. Okay, so try to, if you can, for your own benefit, to crochet loosely. I've gotten used to it, so I don't mind. Now we're going to slip stitch in that, remember before we slip stitched in the chain space right there? We're going to do that again. Slip stitch in there, pull it through there. Okay, now we're chaining up 3, not 6. 1, 2, 3. Now we do the double crochet cluster set in there. Okay, 1, sorry, 2, 3. Now, so you know, the chains that we chained up 3 just now, that's classified as 1 double crochet in this particular pattern. So you actually really have 4 double crochets. It's just that we use the chain up 3 to get us started. All right. Now we're going to slip stitch across to the next chain space there, and chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me pull some more thread here. Excuse me. And now we're going to put our cluster set in there. So 3 double crochets is our cluster set. 1, 2, 3. Now, because I'm using a larger hook, the chain spaces are looking very big. So those gaps there, they're looking quite big. Yours won't look as big if you're using the correct hook size, okay? If you want, you could use a size smaller as well, which is 3.5, 3.5. That's a 4. You could use 3.5, and that'll tighten up the squares a little bit more, and you won't have to do your the other corner to corner stitch, which is the 5 chain. Now, that's pretty much basically what you're going to do. I want you to keep going, chaining up 6, turn, yada yada, chain up, and so on. And meet me back here in about, just do it 2 more rows, and we'll make a little swatch of 5. If you're doing a pillow or a blanket, go ahead. Go as far as you want. When you're ready to make your square part or your rectangle, and you're ready to close up the triangle to make it a square, then meet me back here. All right. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows done and 5 rows done there. We're now going to close up our square. And the way we close up our square is, instead of chaining up 6, we're only going to chain 1. Yep. Turn like we do normally, except now what I want you to do, let me get a bit closer, you can see these little, each double crochet has that little V, right? I want you to slip stitch in that little, where you're putting your double crochet in, I want you to slip stitch in there instead of a double crochet. So you're slip stitching there, 1, and slip stitching, that's the back, there, 2, and then you're slip stitching a 3rd time only. Now, we're not exactly in that gap chain space there, but it doesn't matter. That's not where you want to be. If you go in there, then you've gone too far and it makes your square become off shape. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn it a little bit like that, and we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, as if we're starting our cluster set. Okay, so now we're going to put our 3 double crochets in there, in our chain space there. So it's 1, 2, 3, oops. Okay, let me just bring that out again. I'm thinking that's a little too close here. Okay, so that's that. So now you have actually, wait, you know what, I'll chain space across. We'll slip across, sorry. We're going to slip to that normal chain space like we usually do. So you can actually see how it's starting to close up. That will adjust itself once you block it, and I'll show you blocking again one more time. That blocking will be done in another tutorial, but that will close up when blocked. Okay, it just looks a bit out of shape now. This one here looks out of shape. Okay, but my other ones, they didn't look out of shape because they've already been squared off. Okay, so we got to this stage. Now we're going to do our normal cluster set. So you just chain up 1, 2, 3, and then pull some yarn. Sorry, lovely people. Okay, and do your normal cluster set. So it's 3 double crochets in there. 2. I'm sorry, I'm slowing down now. Sorry. 3. I'm not used to crocheting slow, so I've had to actually slow down for the purpose of tutorials. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch into the next set and do our next 1, 2, 3 chains, and our next cluster set in there. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to slip stitch across to the next set, chain up 1, 2, 3, then do your double crochets in there, your double crochet set, cluster set, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to slip stitch across there, okay, to the last one. But when you slip stitch, just stop there for a moment, okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to close up. We've slip stitched there, so we've closed up the square here and we've closed up the square there. So if we keep going up, it's going to be out of shape. Okay, so what I want you to do is just chain. We'll do that again so you can see it nice and close like before. So we're chaining 1, we're turning our work, and there's your chains right there. You're going to slip stitch in there, 1, and in the second one, 2, and in the third one, 3. So you've officially closed up both sides. Okay. All right. Now we're going to continue, just turning that a little bit, and we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. That's probably too far back, isn't it? That's better. 3, and then we're going to put double crochet set in there, our cluster set in there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, just get some more yarn here. All right, so now we're just going to slip stitch like normal in there, chain up your 3, 1, 2, 3 like normal, cluster set like normal, 2, 3, slip stitch into the next one. Oh, I'm sorry, am I working too fast? I do apologise if I am. 1, 2, 3. I'll slow this part down because this is the close-up part, okay? And do your cluster set like normal. 2, 3. Oh no, that's 2, sorry. 3. My apologies. Okay. So now remember what we had to do before, another close-up of it so you can have a look. We're slip stitching into our normal chain space like we would. Pull that slip stitch, right? Chain, turn. I notice in a lot of other tutorials they don't chain. I actually like to chain. I believe it locks it all into place, but that's my way of doing things. If you don't want to chain there, you don't have to. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slip stitch across 1. Don't do it so tight like I do. 2 and 3. Now we're going to chain up our 3. 1, 2, 3. Bring that down again. And we're going to put our cluster set in there like normal. So 1, 2, we're getting very close now to closing up our square. 3. Okay, slip stitch into there, chain up 1, oops, 1, 2, 3, and then your cluster set here, 2, 1, sorry, 2, 3. Okay, now my centre pull is working. Oh, I do apologise. Okay, so 3. Slip stitch in there like normal. Closing up again. Chain 1, turn. Now we're slip stitching in there. 1, 2, 3. Now the best part about doing this one is it's our last one. I don't know why I'm whispering. Okay, so let's go down that way. So we've got our 3. We're chaining up 3 like normal. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, I will bring that up a bit. Okay, 3 like normal. And now we're going to put our cluster set in there like we were, like normal. 1, 2, sorry, 2. Oops. Get a thread. 3. This is it, people. We are going to slip stitch to that last one. There. Chain 1. Turn. If you leave it like that, you'll have that little angle look. So I like to slip stitch across. 1, 2, 3. And I like to also, I think I'll better slip stitch one more. Just that last one. No, I won't. I'll leave that one. So just slip stitch across to the third one. I can't remember what I usually do. It's been a while since I've made these. And then just chain one. Grab your scissors. Now, so you can have a look at it. The difference between using a 4mm hook and a 5mm hook, okay? So the 5mm hook has made it that little bit bigger, okay? It's made our stitches bigger, but it's also made our gaps bigger. So if you use a 3mm hook, your square will be there and the gaps will be so much smaller. They won't look like my mood pillow ones because they are done with a chain 5. Okay, so I tell you what, I'll do the tutorial in the future, but in the meantime, when you're chaining up 6, instead of chaining up 6, chain the 5. When you're ready to start your cluster set, instead of chaining up 3, you're chaining up 2. That's pretty much the difference. I will be doing a tutorial on that one as well, but just to show you the difference now in sizes, okay? If you want, we'll just go through quickly now and sew these threads in. I will also do a little border for this. Okay, probably not in this tutorial. It's getting a little bit long. We're on 21 minutes already. So at this stage, I'm just going to show you how to weave in these ends. Now, with darning in ends and weaving in ends, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty much entirely up to yourself how you want. Oh, I just split the yarn there, didn't I? Oh. Let's try this end for now. Just want to show you quickly how to weave in the ends. It's up to yourself how you want to weave it in, okay? Personally, I have a very strange way of doing it. A lot of people have said, oh, it's a little weird, but that's just who I am. You don't have to do it this way, but it's the way I do it, okay? And I literally split the yarn in every stitch when passing through. I don't just pass it through the stitch. I don't just weave it into the stitch. I split the yarn. Now, the reason I split the yarn, I don't pull too tightly, otherwise you'll see the split, is because I think that it stays in place better. Okay, I think it does. I believe it does anyway. Okay, so there. If you do it once, twice, you can do it a third time if you like. But because we've split the yarn, that's not going to come undone. And I've talked about moths before, and I'm telling you now, no moth is getting into that. No moth is getting into that. And you cannot even tell that there's a yarn being sewn in there. You know, I just pulled it a bit tight, my apologies. Okay, so your next tutorial will be the actual border of this piece. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a like if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, press that little bell button so you can get more of my tutorials. And if you love crochet but you do not want to make any, you just want to buy it, purchase it, whatever, you can go to my stores. They'll be in the links below. Happy crocheting, people. Ciao.